Okay.
Okay, good? All right, good afternoon, everyone. This is a meeting of the Bay Oaks Recreational Campus Advisory Board, and we're here at Town Hall Chambers. It is Wednesday, January 15th, 2025, and it is now 12:04. And I call this meeting to order, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll begin with roll call, and we'll begin with Ed.
Ed Schoonover here.
Barbara Hill.
Joy Sullivan.
Becky Guidry.
Michelle Cherney.
And Jeff Hauge. And Karen Woodson also is excused. She's not going to be here today.
Okay, so
Had some
we have
personal-
3 excused absences. We have Betty Simpson, Karen Woodson, and John.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And at this point, I'd like to welcome our new Bay Oaks member, Michelle.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard. Thank you for jumping in and filling that vacant position, so much appreciated.
Great, I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
We have the minutes. Have you all had an opportunity to review the minutes? If so, I'd like a motion.
I'll motion to approve them. I looked at them.
Okay,
Becky
thank you,
Guidry.
Becky. And that
Joy
would be
Sullivan,
Joy the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll move on to public comment. There is no one in the audience, so we'll then go to staff liaison report.
Well, we have a lot of question marks to report.
Do you have a written report? No, just the minutes? You don't have,
No, I was looking for that before. I did not find a report from December, a monthly report, but I can send that out when I do find it. But I can go through it pretty.
it's always helpful for us to kind of go down.
So I can kind of tell you right now what the monthly report probably would say. We average 27 kids at the after school program per day, which is good. We had fun days. The pool update would be that we are hopefully getting the funds February or March as far as part of the CDBGR funds to redo the pool. Once we get those funds, we can start we can't really start much until we do officially get those funds allocated. It's not one of those things where we can even reach out to contractors until we do get the money per HUD requirements and county requirements and the CDBGR requirements. So we keep kind of reporting that it's coming, and it's still reporting it's coming. I mean, the funds have been allocated to disperse. However, there's one more approval process because it does go through the county and the HUD program, that the HUD kind of checks on the county's checks on us. So it goes through an extra approval. It's going to be like that probably throughout the entire steps of this with the CDBGR grant. So it'll be a little bit of it's going to be a lot of paperwork for sure. But we are expected to get the funds February, March at the latest, and then we can start the planning stage as far as what that might even look like.
So you can't start the planning stage until the funds become
Not
available for us to hire a design team to then begin the planning and the design.
correct.
Okay.
Any money we'd spend right now would be out of pocket for the town.
Right,
So-
which you're not interested in doing at this point, right? So you're
We
just
don't have
waiting
those
for
funds available right
Right.
now. We're just playing the waiting game for a month or two. I mean, we've been waiting 2 years, 2.5 years, so 3 years. So we finally got funding. We'll just have to wait for it.
And the funding expires or no? Like, is
It
there-
will. The project date, I think it goes out to 2026 or beyond. We have project dates, but the funding hasn't even been allocated, so there isn't.
Just don't wanna lose.
Yeah, no, we won't. I shouldn't say we won't lose it, but we have a plan in place to put out bids and start talking about it right away.
Yeah.
So when you put out bids, is that when a design will be finalized, or?
Yeah, we
is-
can do. We'll probably have to do an inquiry and talk about what our scope is, but it really nothing major can change on the pool as far as the pool goes. The outside of the pool, the concrete area can change, but we can't like increase the size of the pools. You know, we could add things like a splash park or something as part of it. So really, we've had designers contact us, but we just haven't got that far as to designing anything for the pool yet, because we weren't sure any funding that we were going to get. Now that we do, we just have to do the waiting game and start the design.
So when the designers start, are you thinking that there might be community input, or is that what the process is? Because the designers, you hire them, and then they have this community meeting, and they get input, and then they put that into their design. Is that how it works?
We could have it just be a BORCAB meeting with public comment. Public
Oh,
input.
that's a good idea.
Well, probably the process would be very similar to what we did with the Newton Park, it would seem, where, yes, there were opportunities to brainstorm within our CellCab group to come up with ideas, and we did this with BORCAB too, when we were planning the community center. There was a lot of input from
Yeah.
the community at large and BORCAB and CellCab in particular about, the design that we feel everybody is buying into.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of know the scope that we put in through CDBGR. It was pretty vague, but definitely we'll come to BORCAB and that'll be publicized. And
Is that something, even though the funds can't be allocated until February, is that something that we as BORCAB members can begin to have a conversation about, beginning the February meeting?
yeah,
Have on the
we can have a
agenda?
conversation about it at any point.
Okay, and then maybe you could come to the meeting with a site plan of the existing pool and seeing what's available for conversation.
Sure.
And are we including like new restrooms? Are we including a concession? I mean.
Yeah, I think in there we had, and we'll have all of that ready for next meeting. All the site plan, what we put in the CDBGR, new locker rooms. We can expand the office area. We can put a concession stand back in there.
Okay,
But yeah, our main thing is going to be the pool, and then the kind of the amenities will be what we can work on.
okay, but in other words, looking at the overall site from,
Yep.
boundary to boundary to understand what actually
Yeah, I can
is
have that.
feasible.
I'll send it out, and then we can have it on the screen. So we can see.
Fantastic. That would be wonderful. Thank you, Jeff.
We're just happy to get the funding and be able to actually get it done.
That's very exciting. 5 million, do you say, is the budget for the pool alone?
4.5 includes the design. So things like, do we want to add another slide? Do we want to,
Right.
those things we can work on for sure.
The slide was a maintenance nightmare, if I remember.
But it was also a big attraction.
It was huge
Ah.
for the kids, especially.
Well,
It
probably
was
they're
only a
making
maintenance.
the.
It was only a maintenance nightmare because we didn't maintain it properly. Does that make sense?
And probably they're making them better than they used to.
Yes, ours was very old. It had like 10
yeah.
coats of paint or whatever, fiberglass on it. So they are making them better. More kid friendly. Those kind of things.
Good.
Probably the stairs a little more sturdy. Forever on those stairs, you know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, there's definitely improvements that we want to make to it. We need to redo the whole pump room, that kind of thing. Make a separate space for the chlorine tanks, separate space to put the acid in. But it's going to be all new system, so it'll be a little more compact than the old system was, which
All
we know
raised.
was all raised
And
up.
elevated, I
Yep,
would
and
assume.
that's something I guess town-wide we're doing. And we'll talk about the pool, but I'll make a note to talk about Bay Oaks here.
Will that engine room then be enclosed? It looked like the old one was kind of like out in the open a little bit, or just
Yeah.
maybe had a fence around
It
it?
had a fence and an awning around it. It did have a roof, but it was open air. Yeah, we'd like to get at least the chemicals enclosed in there and away from the elements. But yeah, enclosing it is going to be a big part of it.
And ventilated.
Well,
Because
it
of-
obviously be
I
ventilated.
mean, you say obviously.
If you're dealing with chemical, it'll be ventilated.
You would think, yeah.
Well, that's true, but as long as it's done properly.
Correct.
Well, there'll be
Yeah.
codes and everything that control what you do there, so.
Oh, they'll be, yeah,
Yeah.
permitting and codes.
Yeah.
We'll follow everything. We actually had the health inspector show up, cause they have to come look at the pool every time, and she just said, let her know, and they gotta walk through so many steps while we're even building it, so. But she said, she signed off on the health inspection of the pool. Basically, we're mitigating the water that's inside of it, and there's a fence around it, so. That's all we
There
need
you
right
go.
now.
Do what you gotta do.
So, any other questions on the pool?
Well, we're just one more, Jeff. We're assuming that the shell is fine on the existing pools that we have? I
It-
mean, obviously it was holding water, but, what if we
No,
run into an issue when?
It's cracking. That'll be part of the redesign is to,
Okay.
we have to use the footprint. We don't have to use the pool. We have to use the footprint.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, it needed to be done after Ian. We just couldn't find funding, so.
Sure.
Anything else?
Nope.
Alright, so Bay Oaks. We'll go programming since we were talking about the monthly report. Right now we're just kind of waiting on Bay Oaks as far as I know there's other avenues, to do yoga, other places which we can still look at. Right now our staffing is down to 4 people that really encompass, just the youth program. We don't have a whole lot of extra time to have somebody go down at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning and help out with yoga, that kind of thing. So staff time right now has been primarily with the kids. That was a priority for council.
Oh, so sorry.
And the school board. So we did a new interlocal that kind of focused on the kids and using that. So so the way it sits with Bay Oaks is that the insurance company this time took over. Before it was the state that had done most of the repairs. When Gleason first did it after Ian, it took a long time. There was some feet dragging, not putting blame, but it just didn't go as quick. I think we all know that. Then they also didn't mitigate as much as we believe they should have. So after Milton and Helene and Debbie, actually, we upped the insurance after Ian, which was beneficial. I mean, we were so underinsured during Ian. There wasn't a whole lot we could do at that point, but we bumped up our insurance. This time around, the insurance company took over with our deductible. They came and they ripped out everything that needed to be ripped out, including the gym floor. So if you haven't been in there, the gym floor is ripped out. Everything's ripped out. The toilets are gone. They're there because we can reuse the porcelain, but they're out. There's no running toilets. There's the fitness equipment is gone. It was already starting to rust.
Wow.
The 2 layers of gym floor and underneath. I'm glad we took it out this time. They said the air quality tests were fine, but it's only so much it can take, So insurance actually took it over now and gutted it all. They have contractors in place, or most of them in place, to start putting everything back. It's going to go back basically the way it was for the most part. I mean, we can't do anything with like the restrooms. They're going to redo them, but a lot of it's going to be epoxy on the floor instead of tile. For instance, the basketball court, we're just looking at painting lines on the ground and then epoxying over it. There's a company that our insurance company recommended, and I've talked to that they've shown me examples, and you can look them up on examples online. But it looks just like a basketball court, but it's epoxy on top. So I'm thinking one side, and we haven't even gotten the final design on the paint or even too far into it. But one side will be primarily pickleball courts with kind of a faint line for basketball. The other side will be primarily basketball courts with faint lines for pickleball. Not faint. I mean, you'll be able to see them, but the primary use on the right-handed court, or what side we do, will look like a basketball court. The other side will look like pickleball courts, but it'll be lined for both.
Yeah.
And you'll have goals for both sides?
We still,
Basketball?
Yep, there's 4. Still
Yeah,
same
yeah.
basketball.
Okay.
Yep. So those are gonna stay. Those are fine. But yeah, we're gonna go that route because we know how important pickleball is, and we only really use one half of the basketball gym, but it'll be lined for pickleball, volleyball, and basketball.
Oh,
So-
good.
Yep.
Didn't you just recently, put like a divider curtain in there?
We didn't put it up yet,
Okay, good.
Right.
so that'll be part of the remodel. We'll be putting that divider curtain up. So everything else will be, even when we come in, I know we did that nice tile floor, or the nice
Vinyl.
vinyl floor, but
Mm-mm,
it didn't hold up.
no.
And we can't keep doing this year after year after
No.
year, storm after storm after storm.
So you're gonna
Um,
epoxy the whole place, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Is that the same kind of process that they do for garages?
Yeah, in a way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So there's decorative you can put. We actually talked about it the first time around, and we should have probably done that. You know, we can do they have almost like a rubberized epoxy for the weight room. I don't know if we'll do that or have mats that we can roll up. I know we've tried to think of just about everything. Is there a pulley system we can pull the equipment up towards the ceiling? You know, because it does take it does take a while to get that equipment out. It's heavy,
Yeah.
obviously.
Oh, my God, yes, of
Um,
course.
So
We're-
you can't look at a mezzanine to put that equipment up on?
We have, and we haven't got anything back from the architect yet. We were thinking, I mean, we've been thinking about just about everything to mitigate. Raising one side of the floor up, having more workout space and pickleball in the lower part. We haven't gotten anything back from as far as cost. I mean,
It seems
to do that, it's
prohibitive.
gonna be a lot of money, and we know that, but we still wanna explore that option, to raise it up. To put the floor, the gym equipment up there alone, I don't know. I mean, we could look at that too. For now, our plan is to do epoxy, and we can build on top of the epoxy if we have the funds available. So, I know one of the things is we need a bigger weight room. You know, that's always the case. If we can somehow build it up in there, that's part of what we're talking to the architect with. So, you know, our footprint is what it is there. Unless we go up, we can't raise the whole building, and we don't have funds to redo a whole new rec center. So, the options are still, I guess, raising the gym floor, which is still on the table, epoxying it. It hasn't, I mean, expanding the rec center. I mean, I know it gets used enough, but it'd have to start really getting used. I know it's cramped in there, but our visitorship isn't very high, you know,
To justify
to
the
justify it
additional
right now.
expense.
But that may,
Cycle.
that may change when people start coming in. You know, when people start moving to the island and we get more guests and, you know, when people start moving back and the condos or resorts, whatever, starting to build.
And we know it will happen.
It'll happen. There'll be people that come back. So we have a little
So
time.
we have to prepare for that.
We have a little time. Insurance will obviously, just like everything else, will pay for what we had before.
Okay, they will pay for all the replacement of the weight room equipment,
Correct.
all of the materials.
Yep. We're gonna be on the
Labor.
hook for a little bit, because the epoxy is gonna be a little bit more than putting in like a rubberized flooring. So the town will be on the hook for a little bit of that, but we have reserves from FEMA money too that we can put towards that.
How much water was in there for Milton, in the building itself? Like how many?
3, 4 feet. It'd be nice to get all the outlets up. It would be nice to
Yeah.
do all of that.
What's the thing, I mean, you learn more with every hurricane.
Or
That's-
exterior
that's the nature of the
conduits, you
island.
know, those kind of things. But in a gym, you don't really want exterior things on the wall. But you know,
Everything's gotta be chest high or
Yeah.
higher.
and we had 11 in there for Ian, so we went
Right.
with basketball hoops. So yeah, it was a lot, but you know, we're trying to do things to mitigate it, and I guess town-wide we're trying to do that too. You know, with
Right.
even they're gonna start redoing the concession stand and the restrooms too. That's probably gonna be the first thing they start on pretty soon. We'd already picked out like a slate gray for the partitions and
Where are you talking
the
about?
concession stand over here.
Okay.
The ballpark.
Right, right.
And redoing the bathrooms. So
Is that the bathrooms that the pickleball players are supposed to use?
the restrooms out here, yeah. Up here.
Is that not part of the pool? I'm not sure where the
No,
other
it's
restrooms
different.
are.
You know where the ball field is, and then you have the concession stand right
It's
there?
Right.
on
They're
this
right
side of the
there.
Oh, there
parking
are
lot.
restrooms there.
Yeah.
Yep,
Oh,
there are two
okay. All
restrooms
right.
there.
They need to be
Okay.
renovated though,
Okay.
for sure.
They're right by the concession.
Yes,
Yeah.
they had to take out all the partition walls again. We had gotten the fixtures done, but you know, we did the electrical, we did the new toilets and plumbing, but now it just needs it again. We got more in there than we did, obviously, in Bay Oaks, just proximity wise, but we just talked last week about they're gonna be getting started here soon, so.
When do you
Nice.
think those would be done?
I haven't gotten any timelines on anything yet.
Could you temporarily put a, bathroom back there by the pickleball courts? They pulled out the temporary
We
ones.
did, we only had a certain amount of time after that FEMA will pay for certain things, temporary bathrooms. But I know I went to the Naples one, Veterans Park, I think it is, where they have, my
Yeah.
kid plays roller hockey
Right.
once in a while. And I had to walk even farther than that to use a bathroom, so I don't think it's out of the norm to have restrooms right now that are not
I
there.
just learned today that these are open.
Yeah, we have signs
I
that
heard
we're
they're
gonna
rough,
put
but they're
there.
open, okay.
They're rough, they're single use only, cause there's no partitions, but they're gonna be redoing them real soon and we'll
Okay,
get 'em,
I'll
so.
let them know.
Yep.
So as far as the insurance payments are concerned with regard to rehabbing the gym, is that sort of a hot top priority thing for the town to get that in motion, or are we still?
It's already in motion.
Okay,
He said they're ready. We're talking about the flooring. They just need a design to paint it. I'm gonna do something very simple. I don't wanna go crazy because it's epoxy and we can't really, once it's in, so. Do something a little neutral.
so you're taking the insurance company's recommendations then?
They're taking over everything.
They're
Yep.
taking it, they're doing it.
They're getting the contractors, they're,
Oh, that's amazing
yep,
that
they
an
have
insurance
pictures.
company
Yeah,
that would
this
do
time
that.
it is so smooth. You know, they're just gonna put it back basically the way it was with some mitigation adjustments. We're gonna obviously raise the HVAC systems up, the package units, as far as we can, you know, appropriately. So we're thinking 5 to 8 feet. It's probably not gonna be high enough, but I think that's what we're talking about, raising that up. You know, so those don't flood every time, cause we just got those replaced not even a year ago, brand
Yeah,
new,
well, yeah.
and we're
I hear
replacing
you.
them again, so.
So will the insurance company even consider, raising the gym equipment up?
They won't
Mitigate?
do that.
Yeah,
No?
It would be a capital on our end to do that.
yeah.
Doesn't FEMA help pay for mitigation? Or FEMA doesn't pay anything, but ideally,
Mhm.
do they pay for mitigation? Like,
They
I thought
do.
that was a thing.
If it was a day after shelter, we would have a lot better luck at that.
Yeah.
We haven't got a lot of luck on the mitigation part, even from Ian. It's still in review for Ian, so,
Right. Well, it's gonna be there 20 years from now too, so.
so.
Did the insurance company give the town a deadline or a timeline as to what the gym rehab will be?
No, I asked last week and they just said they're working on it but can't give me a timeline.
Oh,
So,
okay, all right.
We've been talking to them. They're actually the same company that's doing the library, so.
Okay,
Oh, boy.
But they're, and the library was okay except for the elevator.
Except for the elevator.
You know, they ordered the wrong part. They had a company that only did a certain elevator, so they had to wait for that. Where like Town Hall, we have an elevator that can be worked on by many companies. It's the whole thing, whatever. But
which makes a huge difference.
yes,
doesn't
that you
it?
gotta wait for one company versus somebody that can come in and do it. But
Did anybody check the City of Sanibel, Public Recreation Center, because they obviously got flooded too? I'd be interested in knowing what their solutions have been,
yeah, no, we didn't honestly.
because, you know, I think they, I'm sure, got the same storm surge we did. Be interesting to see what their solutions have been.
Yeah, I don't know where theirs is located.
Is what?
I don't know where theirs is located. Is
Oh,
it
it's
right on the water,
It's on Sandcap Road on the way to Captiva.
along the water.
Well, it doesn't have to necessarily be on the water, because that's all, it's just like Bay Oaks. It's right on the road. It's right on Sandcap Road going up to, it's
Yeah.
actually by the Sanibel Elementary
Yeah,
School.
we had some issues of our own that were unique, like the foundation had cracks. I mean, like a lot of houses even do, that the water came in from the underneath, so the epoxy's really gonna help with that too, so.
Ah, right.
You're probably closer to the water though. I mean, we have
And
more canals.
we're
in
right by the
Sanibel.
back bay.
Right. And that's the thing, is that it comes up.
Right.
Yeah, you dig down, even when we were doing the ball field, you dig down 1.5 foot when we hit a water table, so.
Well, that would be the same for Sanibel too.
Oh, yeah, it would,
because
for sure.
You know, the elevation's about the same.
We're trying to mitigate, I mean, insurance will put it back to answer your question, insurance will put it back the way it was. anything additional would be capital funds.
Right.
For instance, I was talking about the restrooms and where the switch gear is. Remember we had to wait. They said it was gonna be 10 months for the switch gear to get power to Bay Oaks. We had to order one. Well, we had a company come in after Ian and basically tear it apart and redo it instead of ordering a new one. That only took 3 or 4 months. And then it flooded again. So we had a different approach with a different company. And now we're gonna hopefully raise it up to the second floor on top. So the switchgear is right, if you're familiar with is in that little building right by the stairs going up. And it's, it's up maybe this high inside, but we're gonna raise it to the roof of that building. And that insurance won't pay for, obviously. We have to foot the bill for that, but it's gonna save us in the long run. Getting it up that high because it's been 4 times of flooding in the last 3 years, so, at least. So, we're redoing it that way, but, yeah, so anything that was there before, they'll put back. Anything additional would be on us to foot the bill, and
Seems reasonable.
our budget isn't, unlimited, we'll just say that. So that's kind of Bay Oaks. The redevelopment, our bids all came back too high. We were hoping that wouldn't be the case, but they did. So the council rejected all of the offers on last Wednesday, and we're back to putting it, rebidding it out. We didn't lose any of that funding, for sure. Even the match grant, we moved kind of money around, so we still have the $1 million match for the redevelopment. But we just gotta put it out for bid, and hopefully we get, we might put not to exceed an amount, the amount that we get for the grant and for the matching, so that'd be about 2 million. Do a not to exceed, and they would have to come in under that. That's probably our only option right now. We don't have extra funds to put towards, say our funds are 2 million and comes back at 3.5. We don't have those extra $1.5 million to put into it right now, so it's gonna have to be what it is. So we can but we have to have the pickleball courts in there. We have to have the walking path. We have to have lighting, a multi-use area, and what else was there? Oh, parking lot. Those are the elements that we have to have in there. We can't really cut them out. That's as part of the grant. So we got to be creative to what we use that and the material that we can use back here. So somebody
Well,
else.
and can't that be phased in, so, get the basics in so that is progressing? And as funding becomes available, that can be budgeted
basically
for
put
another
in
CIP?
We basically put in the 5 elements that we needed, and they came back high.
Just those 5 elements?
We had phase 2, which would be in there as an option. It would be the building, and we had phase 3 that would have been the new gym.
Right,
So we had those in there, but still came back extremely high. So we're gonna have to come back. It was a little vague at the time. So
so
we'll have
you're
to be,
reworking the bid, okay,
yeah, to try
to
to
make it a little more,
Cost effective.
attractive
Yep.
and budget friendly.
Yeah, some of the items on there were pick your material kind of thing. And I think if we specified, they were covering their own rear end too on their bid, not knowing what exactly was gonna.
Okay,
used for material,
so
so.
just being more specific.
Yep, so we can be more specific in the bid, and we can put that out. Again, we're gonna have to wait 30 days and 30 days after that, but
So after the town moves into their new facility and the trailers will be pulled out, is that funding needed to clean this all up? What's gonna happen here after the trailers are gone?
this is gonna be parking.
Is that funding needed, or is
That's
that
part of the
Grant.
the grant.
the grant? So until we get that grant, this is just gonna be all be dirt back here,
Well, we have the grant until we get it awarded.
awarded?
It'll be
okay.
dirt. So where we sit will be parking. Just on the other side of the trailers will be the 4 pickleball courts. I'd like to do more, I would, but we're already struggling and getting the bid where we need it. So we'll we'll see how the pickleball goes on the tennis courts, which we can talk about that, here in a second, but
Are you still considering, raising the ground?
that's
For
what,
that-
yes, about 3 to 4 feet, we think.
And is that in the bid, or is that something that's separate?
That's in the bid, that's part of the bid document, yeah. And a lot of the material that's back here is gonna be used for that,
Mm-hmm.
so. It'll take a lot more, but, you know, if we can be creative that way, we thought we were being creative by allowing people and companies to dump their concrete back there. You know, it saves costs on them, and then we'll crush it up to use as fill, so, but we're just continuing to be creative on ideas. But yeah, we will raise it up for sure.
Do you, like, what, 3 feet, did you,
I would think 3 to 4 feet, I think is
Okay.
what we had in there.
that'll make a huge difference.
Yeah. As well as putting in retention ponds, throughout, you know, the park, and doing that to capture the water, and it's not just sitting there, but it is, you go back there on any high tide, and it's soaked back there. You know? Even the ball field, about 50 feet in, gets wet every time we get a high tide. So, yeah.
Okay.
Any questions on that? Also, we lost a lot of clay on the field. It got compacted, or we lost a lot of clay on the baseball or the softball field. So we just yesterday re-laser graded it, so help with drainage, and fluffed it up a little bit. So it looks really nice out there. It's not so hard packed and everything, because it was starting to, even with the compaction we had with 4 or 5 feet of water on top of it, compacted it all pretty good. So we got some fresh dirt, which a lot of ballparks do on a yearly basis. They kind of freshen it up. Anyway, so that's gonna be our only field, so we're gonna try to take care of it as much as possible. Trying to get the grass to come back. There are areas that need a little more help. We had it aerated last week too, just to try to help get some of the moisture, or get the air into the roots. So we're trying to make that good. Fixed up the batting cage a little. It was sagging from the last storms, so those are good to use. We're going to be putting a net in the back in the outfield, probably about 15-20 feet high along the back, so we don't lose things into the mangroves. The softballs that they hit don't go out and get stuck in the mangroves, and try to protect those. So the net will keep it from staying in bounds a little bit more. It'll still be a home run, just so you know, over the fence, but the net'll get a little bit. But yeah, otherwise, I think we're doing all right.
The signage on Estero that says Town Hall doesn't indicate there's also Bay Oaks Park back
Yep.
there.
That sign, the Bay Oaks Park sign, if you look out there, it's got a stake where it's going. So they came out and staked it now.
The big sign you're talking about?
The big
That was
sign.
created, yeah.
Yep. The one that was originally approved for the Bay Oaks project.
7 years ago.
That's whatever, 20 years ago it feels like.
Seemingly.
That's going in. They have to finish a little bit on the production side. It's mainly ready, and then it's gonna go in the ground. He thought maybe within a month or two. So,
Okay, so that's, and then obviously the Town Hall sign will be moved, because that's going
once
in
our
March,
sign,
I think.
once our sign, even if it goes in before, we'll remove ours, because Bay Oaks sign will be really nice.
Okay. Did you give us the final design of that Bay Oaks Park sign? Or
That
is this
was-
the one that we were talking about
That was
2 years
finalized
ago?
way before me even.
That was before Ian, we looked at that, cause we had discussed
We
it.
did, it was,
We talked about it, cause we couldn't figure out if we had officially voted on it, or if we just discussed it and it got done, but either way it got done.
Yeah, it was done
Yeah.
before Ian.
Correct.
Well, it was started
And
before
we did
Ian.
discuss it, cause
We
we had.
put a hold on it because we weren't sure what
pictures.
was happening. And then finally we got back to it, and it should be in soon.
Yeah.
Hey.
But I do have it on an email from way before, I just
Way
don't know if it was
before.
voted on, or if we
yeah,
just.
that was, I remember we had
I'm
a
not
question
sure.
about it. I don't know if I didn't recall if there were any, new additions of that signage, or if that was the original.
The only thing with that, and if you looked at it, we gotta cut down about a foot. So we're just gonna put it in the ground a little bit more. But it was too high per new code.
Okay.
So when it was
Oh,
approved the
because
first
of our
time,
sign ordinance.
because of our sign ordinance, we have to, it didn't
fit the
It
criteria.
didn't fit the criteria, it was too tall.
But
So-
it's gonna be called Bay Oaks Park, right?
Correct. Part of the grant requires that,
Yeah,
or the grant requires.
as opposed to Bay Oaks Recreational Campus.
Correct.
Yeah, I have a picture, I probably have a picture of the sign. Do you have a picture?
I vaguely remember seeing a picture a long, long time ago.
It was old.
I think that went the way of all my other
Did-
being destructed in documents.
Well, this is all I have, but I
Yeah.
think it's in here somewhere, maybe not.
It was from Lee Designs. It's bought and paid for, it just waiting on the install.
I don't even know what I would have it under an email.
I actually do have a question, but it's not on the agenda. It's not related either, so I'll bring it up as board member item.
Yeah, we started, I can just tell you, we started the permitting in, September of last year, and we just got it in. We know the permitting
So it'll be coming soon.
very soon, yes. I'll,
It's like this sort of,
I had it here somewhere, I just gotta find it.
Oh, you did find it, Becky.
Yeah. That looks
In
nice.
cursive?
I think that was the way you
What?
had it the first time too.
Yeah, I said in cursive? Why would it be in cursive? Who
We had talked
designed-
about where
who
to put the
designed
welcome
the
sign.
sign?
You guys approved it,
No. I
There
remember,
was talk about where to put the welcome words, if it was like gonna be up here, we discussed.
I know that it was,
Why can't I find it?
it was.
This is what I have, I don't know if it's the same.
It was proposed by staff,
Yeah.
but it was never, a conversation between staff and BORCAB. It was just sort of fait accompli. That I
This
do
is
We
remember.
found the
Allison
minutes
from
that-
June of 22, June 7th, 22.
That was the one that was approved.
You're on here.
But anyway, it's coming.
All right, so, so you're, that's it for your staff
That's it.
report?
Unless anybody has additional questions.
Any more questions for? Nope.
I had two things. One is, I had mentioned I have a lot of grandkids out there, and the park is really small out here. Since the school is open, is there any way that the Bay Oaks could get access to that park for seasons so that we had
So
someplace
it
to go?
used to be the playground you're talking about, or just the
Yeah.
area? It used to be on weekends it was open, and then after school hours,
Yeah,
that it was just free to use. I don't know if it still is.
And it was designed a little different, because it was over by Bay Oaks a little farther, or quite a bit farther. But we did a land swap and provided the equipment, and it
Right.
was kind of fenced off double. I don't know if that's something we can look into again. I know on our interlocal agreement with Bay Oaks and the after-school care, we have access to it. So those will be questions I need to ask.
Yeah, because it used to be anybody could use it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
it's not accessible
Because
now.
we would lock it up at night after we were leaving at
Right,
6.
just until a certain hour.
And then we'd unlock it, and then it'd be open until 6 on the weekdays, and then on the weekends, either our park staff or public works opened it up. But I don't know, it's their equipment, it'd be up to them. It'll be asked here very shortly, if we
Okay.
can use it, or keep it open, cause I agree. I
It
agree
was
now.
used on the weekends. We would come here
Oh,
on
yeah.
weekends.
So
Yeah,
I don't know what their
That
plan
would be
is.
great.
Yeah.
It's just got no accessibility. This one's just too small
It
over
is
here
small, yeah.
for the kids.
Yeah. So, Well, that's a question I need to ask yet.
Okay.
Is if it can be open for the public. I don't know if anything's changed with those laws, or like the one by our house, it's locked up, we can't use it, you know, where I live. And it's like that with a lot of playgrounds on campuses.
It's probably liabilities and
I
stuff.
can't use their baseball fields, I can't use it. It's all locked
Probably
up.
happened
Yeah.
after all the school shootings.
That's why they enclosed
Yeah.
all of them,
Right.
but I don't know after hours if that's different or whatever, but it is a beautiful playground.
And it's just not being utilized, and there's kids on the island.
Agreed.
Agreed.
More than they think there are.
Yeah.
We're all
Yeah.
here. Yeah, the kids.
I know my son uses the ball field quite a bit. We come down and practice, but you know he saw that too. He's like, "Can I go?" I'm like, "Oh, I can't."
Yeah.
So I'd say
That's
I'm
not what you told him. Okay.
No, I didn't. We weren't there. I wouldn't. No, I would not
I'm
go.
just kidding,
but-
I know.
So no.
And then, with pickleball people here, can we just review? So you took the one tennis court, you're converting that into 4 additional pickleball courts, correct?
Yeah, currently we're doing it temporarily with tape. And pickleball tape, apparently it sticks better. It looked like duct tape to me. We'll see. When we ordered it, and then working with the company that just redid the tennis courts to reline at least one, but that's up for discussion if we want to recommend doing all four or both courts. So there's 8 more.
I think you should have one that's just tennis, cause it
That
does get
that's
confusing.
that's why I put it on the items for discussion.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to bring up, so what's happening, I play every day over there, and we've had approximately 4, I think maybe 5 of the nets broken, because what's happening at night is we get all the pickleball set up, and the kids are coming to play basketball at night, and they're taking the nets and just dragging them,
Oh, my.
and they're getting all busted up
Here?
here.
Are they
I
in
I didn't know
the
they were
space of
broken.
the
We'll
basketball
replace them
area?
if they're broken for sure. I haven't heard anything about it.
Well, you've, all of the ones from the rec center are outside, so there's still like 3 as a backup.
Aren't the ones outside on rollers?
The roller ones are, I think there's only 1 roller left and all the rest of them have
Oh,
been
I'll go
busted.
check it out. I didn't know.
Are they
Yeah,
by the basketball court? Where are they even touching them?
so the pickleball courts are also the basketball courts, so they come at night and they
Corner.
drag them off
Oh, so they can
onto
use
the
that.
side.
Well, it's a shared space. I mean,
Well, I
it's-
know, I just didn't know there were people playing basketball.
Well, that's why I came back and talked with Pam and, cause I played pickleball, so I got some feedback on what was going on with the courts when I first met. And it was kinda talked about, could we take all the tennis courts and convert them into 8 pickleball courts, and then convert the other one into tennis and basketball? Cause honestly, these tennis courts are not getting used.
Wow.
But if
And
they're,
that
that's
way
why you
those
only need
n-
one court, though.
That-
I mean,
that's-
they do get used.
They
You can't say they
do.
don't. They
Right.
do, but not very often.
Not
I know
very-
that. I get that. And
But
that's
then
why.
you don't have to move the nets.
But why set up the net if it's a shared space? It shouldn't be set up till the next morning, because then it's like you set up the net and nobody can use the space.
Well, if you have
If basketball is there at
the-
night, then
if you take a tennis court like this and put the basketball on each side, they don't have to move the net. What's happening right now over at the pickleball courts is the nets are on this side, and we go like this,
right,
and they're dragging them out, cause they want the whole court to play basketball.
because they need right. But what I'm saying is, like, if y'all are setting it up, can it be unset up in the evening, and that way the basketball court is open?
There's nobody, you never know who the last one is to move them. And sometimes, even in the morning, like on the weekends, you'll have somebody that wants the basketball courts when we're playing pickleball.
and they can.
They
If
just
they're
move
there
them,
first,
they
they're there
move them.
first.
That's it. Yeah.
So it is
I-
a first
I
come,
mean,
first served.
Yeah, it
There's
says
no
it right
set-
on the. Yeah,
there's
there's
no
a sign that says
schedule.
it too,
Yeah.
I would think you need one tennis court. There's so many pickleball, like just one tennis court that's just tennis, just one.
Yeah, that's why I thought if we could turn the current pickleball courts into a tennis and then put those basketballs on each side and make that all into there. I think it would be, maintenance wise. It's gonna be, it is tough, I don't care what I came the other night with some friends, don't usually play at 3 o'clock, and it was on a Saturday, and there were some kids out there using the pickleball nets for, soccer nets. So they're getting beat up.
That'll change when we. have
Sounds
these
to me
parks.
like that might be staff, just sort of overseeing the equipment. But because you're so short-staffed, you only have
And I talked to
4.
Pam yesterday. She didn't say anything about the nets. So.
Yeah, maybe that
She
should be a
She
follow-up.
would have, we bring a ruler out and we're like fixing them right back up out there. So we've got the fixed ones are out in the court right now, and then we bring a ruler and set them up. But the
Well,
ones,
we
the
can
ones on
order-
the wheels hit the salt water and they were just about rusted and busted off.
So I'll
So
get some
3
more
of 'em.
ordered for sure because they were there during Ian, so we can, or Milton and Helene, so we can replace those.
Who are the 4 people now? Who are your 4 people?
Employees.
Is it
Barbara,
Jimmy?
Jimmy, Aaron, and Skylar.
What happened to Shanetta?
She's in permitting right now until we get the rec center back open.
Okay, you do have Aaron.
Aaron,
Okay, and Jim?
Jimmy
Okay.
D'Amelia, he's been there
Forever.
Oh, yes,
10,
of
12
course.
years, I think.
Yes.
Since he probably worked there when he was in like 6th grade.
Yes,
Right,
exactly.
exactly. He looks like he's still in the 6th
Yeah.
grade.
And then Skylar,
Oh, Skylar, okay.
and did I say Barb?
So this is gonna sound ignorant, and it is an ignorant question. There is not one sole basketball court outdoors. That's just basketball.
No.
I don't ever go back there. I don't know the last time I was back there. To
Yeah,
look at it, I'd have to go look at it.
Pickleball, basketball back there, and then the tennis courts are sitting there by themselves.
I don't think I've been back here since it turned pickleball.
So once we get
I've
this
been to the indoor
redevelopment, we'll
pickleball
have
ones.
Dedicated.
8 courts on the tennis court, or 4 courts on the tennis court, 4 courts on the basketball court, and 4 courts on the redevelopment, and then 6 to 8 courts inside. That'll be the number.
That seems sufficient.
8.
When
At
everything
the-
gets
the
just
problem
at
is
the-
the
At the
shared
growth that
issue.
pickleball is going right now, at all ages, we're right now with those 4 courts backed up some mornings, 30 people. And we're
Wow,
not even,
really?
and we have 2 more condos about ready to open. It really is crazy, and that was one of my motivations with getting on this board is, you know, if you take a look at, the local areas, you know, Cape Coral's about ready to have one, Naples. These pickleball
Oh, agreed.
tournaments,
Yeah.
people will look at geographics of pickleball courts and where they decide on
Oh,
their stay.
absolutely.
And
And it's not just pickleball, it's all the other amenities
Correct,
that
the
the
other-
public
correct,
parks
yeah.
That's the
provide.
thing, is like, how do you balance it all? Like, you can't push
Well,
everything out just for
and
pickleball.
you know, this was our
No.
plan years ago before Ian came, that yes, we were going to expand the pickleball program and add, you know, a number of, I can't remember exactly the number of new pickleball courts. But with these subsequent storms and with the insurance issues that we've had with the town, it's just been an uphill battle for so many reasons to unfortunately not provide the amenities that we had already planned to provide, we had funding for, but that's gone. And so it's a struggle. I think that is an ultimate goal. I mean, we would love to be able to have major pickleball
We talked about
tournaments here.
tournaments.
We were actually thinking, I think there was at one point there was supposed to be a basketball tournament that was supposed to happen. That was a number of years ago. So all of that was in the planning stage, but these hurricanes have really changed. So Cape Coral didn't experience what we've experienced.
Correct.
So, to me, it's been very upsetting to have this pushback on, but it's because of the storms primarily. It's not because we haven't wanted to. It's
Yep.
just that we.
believe me, I lost my home too. We lost 2
Yes.
of them here, so I'm right with
You
you through it.
know.
But I think just the move of, you know, looking at it, because since I've been playing pickleball and they found out from the media that I was on the board, they're like, why do we have 2 tennis courts sitting empty every single day when we're all backed up?
Well,
with
there are
so
people that play tennis though.
I
Like,
agree.
there are.
they're
That's like why we're having a
that's-
multi-use field, you're not putting a baseball field there, because then it monopolizes it as baseball. You turn everything into pickleball and it monopolizes it as pickleball.
I'm not saying
There's other things.
there's
there, you
only
know?
enough utilization for 1 court.
That's what I'm saying, you have to leave a court, I'm only
There-
saying
there-
one, yeah, leave the
Yeah.
one court.
I don't know if
just
it's, I don't know if
tennis.
it's,
I don't know that you
I'd have to,
need
I'd
4
have to do the
courts,
numbers, but to switch over those courts like that, we wouldn't have that in our budget right now.
For basketball or tennis? We
To
don't.
switch the tennis courts to having one tennis court on the basketball court, and then
Yeah.
switching the other one over to basketball and pickleball.
That's the thing, I mean, I think you need like, I mean, maybe just even 1 tennis court, that's just tennis. I'm not saying you need like even 2, but then the basketball is the issue. There's no
And the
way
other,
to
the
put,
other
like, just
option,
a
I
basketball,
guess we're down to
outdoor
items
basketball.
for discussion, is that what we're doing?
Outdoor basketball is so different too, like it's a different ball, everything is different from indoor basketball, so is there nowhere we can put just basketball? Like even a half court or something? Like on the side of a building, I don't know, like a concrete pad, you know, like if,
We
at,
can't,
like the
we can't really
Y, you know.
expand too much away. I mean, we talked about that dog park even down there,
Yeah,
and we couldn't get permitting to put the dog park right next to the tennis court anymore because of being so close to the water in the bay.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like even if you have like a basketball goal on the side of a building somewhere and have like the half, I mean, I don't know, I'm just throwing
that's
stuff out
But
there.
there's a group of guys that go down and play basketball full court. I mean, they played indoors, they play outdoors. I mean,
I wish
Jimmy
we had like an
D'Amelia's
aerial
one of them. He
view.
plays, so.
See, Jimmy would have an idea,
Mhm.
cause he's big into that. I wish we had like an aerial view to look at to figure out if we could put, I mean, if we're gonna be, we're a park, we're a rec center, you know, we have to have all the things, that's the whole point. So
We have
if
as many as
could
we
have-
can accommodate. yes.
Correct, that's why we have the multi-use fields, you can have soccer and lacrosse, and it's not walled off for any one particular sport on
No.
that field, so, I don't know, we need like an aerial view where you can figure out,
We need to buy Strand View, put a basketball court there.
right? It's just hard to visualize.
I'm just kidding.
Because a
about
shared
Strand View.
court
Go to
doesn't
a
work.
park if you did.
I saw Strandville View put a new, seawall in. right adjacent
That
to
helps
Newton.
some.
They
this
should
is
do the
like
sea
not-
yeah, I think they,
It's
and
the
they fixed the
old
one in Newton
design.
too.
Exactly, but it does help
They
some.
did, I don't, well,
But
I
that's-
just, maybe there's just a lot of
That's
over, they're saying,
2020.
You just can't share a court. I mean, between tennis and
This is
pickleball,
so
you
old,
can't-
it
But really, you go
doesn't-
back there, and I know some people do
Basketball,
play pickleball later in the night, but when I go, when I check out the facility at between 3 and 5, there's only
But
one or two
somebody's gotta
pickleball courts.
move the nets then, that's the trick. Because then you're just gonna keep replacing them.
And the only other option, if we keep a staff down there, then we'd have to charge, and I'm not doing that.
Right, cause the people who are coming in and playing basketball, if they're all 15, they don't give a crap about your nets. They're just gonna
Right,
rip
I-
them out the
I
way
understand
and that stinks.
Let's figure out something to,
Yeah,
new nets with different wheels, or,
Are you gonna put a barrier between the tennis courts and the 4 pickleball courts on there?
we're gonna do something temporarily right
Okay.
now until, and that's the other thing I was thinking if we wanted to do the 4 pickleball courts on the one side and only leave one tennis court, we could put a permanent fence in between,
Yeah.
like they do on the other ones, but I just don't know. I mean, the trend on tennis just keeps going like this too. I mean, sometimes you have a lot of people, sometimes you have not many.
my kids do tennis lessons off island and there's a lot of kids that do
I have some friends that,
lessons.
that are adults and play down in Naples, and they play a lot of tennis.
Right.
So
It's very different than pickleball, I mean,
Yeah, I'm not.
It's just
saying
one of
get rid
those-
the tennis
those-
court.
those trends that kind of goes up and down.
right, but if you
know?
have one that's dedicated to tennis, then the other ones can be pickleball or tennis, right?
That's
Yeah.
what that's the way it's going to be right now.
And different net sizes.
So
and then I think we can begin to look at some of the condominiums and resorts that have tennis courts and pickleball courts to determine, is that adequately serving the needs of the community in terms of, you know, the people that live there in a condominium?
Yeah.
So, in other words, we don't have to serve those people because they have their own court or their own pickleball
Well, that's
court.
the trick, they start opening up all these private beach clubs
Well-
all over the island, they're gonna have all their own stuff anyway.
Yeah,
And just a lesson to be had, so Sea Watch and Estero Beach and Tennis Club, after the hurricane, when our courts were destroyed, they got theirs fixed right away. So we went over and talked to the manager, and they're like, yeah, come on over and play, we don't have enough guests, you can use them. So what they did was, they tried to take one tennis court, and they taped it, or they set it up for tennis and pickleball, but they put a fixed tennis net in it, and you can't do that.
It's a different net.
It's a different net,
Well,
it's higher.
but ours go the other way.
Yeah,
Like the
Correct.
the
Yeah.
tennis
Play the
net
indoors,
is actually
yeah.
going to be a barrier between the.
Right.
yeah, it was more of a just FYI, you can't use the same net for both.
But it's really hard
Yeah,
if you have
that-
a bunch
that's
of
not-
lines
yeah.
all over the ground. It's hard to follow
You
what
get
lines you're
used to
playing
it.
at, you know what
Yeah,
I
it
mean?
you get used to it.
Even
I'm
though
You
just
do,
saying-
right, because you're so used to pickleball, you know
No,
what I mean? Like,
I
you were very
play
well versed
both,
in it.
and you get used to it. It's like playing on the inside. You got your basketball lines, and you just know which colors,
I
you
mean,
know.
you go to some elementary schools and there's pretty much colorful lines there.
Yeah,
That's how
there's
ours
all-
is.
It's crazy.
God forbid if you're
Yeah.
colorblind.
So and you know,
Exactly.
when we redid the tennis courts, we got a lot of good feedback on good. Now we can come down and play. You know, we're waiting for those to come back. So it's like,
It is
Yeah.
it's trendy for all of it. We just can't push one of them out, I don't feel like.
correct.
Is there a way, like, can Jimmy just like walk around and see what he thinks about basketball? I mean, he's just so well, maybe there's nowhere. He can look around and be like, no, there's nowhere you can put a court, there's nowhere to do this, or maybe he has like an idea and then we could discuss an idea, whether it works or
well,
not,
I'm
I don't
open
know.
to looking
No,
at
I think
any
you have a
option.
great idea, I wouldn't think that wouldn't be that expensive to.
Yes, I mean, it's.
Unless you have to build an asphalt court, and then it gets really expensive. You know,
it's an
redo like.
idea.
'cause
Or maybe
the-
something we could do later, you know what I mean? But just to share it is kind of silly, I think,
Yeah,
unless we have to.
we can look. I'll look. I can't think of a place right now. I mean,
That's why
but-
I'm saying him,
But
because
also
he
the
would just
school
know.
has a couple basketball courts.
We can't get back there.
That's what I mean. It'd be nice to be able to use them.
We used to be able to get back there.
So those are questions I'm gonna ask.
Okay,
We also used to have more tennis courts over there too.
right.
How many more? We had how many tennis courts? 4 more?
Oh, really?
They got taken out. The asphalt's still there. I mean, it's just buried under rubble.
But they were used before. That's the
tennis
thing.
courts were used a lot.
That's what I'm saying. So I think it's just. I
And
mean,
when we had a full, I mean, it wasn't used a ton during the day, but in the mornings we had quite a few tennis.
Right.
Even right before E.
I feel like like it's hard to say what gets used and what doesn't at this point, even for the last 3 years, because of the situation.
Yeah.
Once we're back up and running, it's different.
I realize the trend right now is pickleball, so we're trying to accommodate as much of that as we can without alienating other
Right.
people.
Yeah, and just my words are, I'm there from 7 to 11 every morning, and 75% of the time, nobody plays tennis
Right.
in the morning, so
I
that's
mean,
why,
like, my kids play, but they're in school.
yeah.
But like the lessons that they take, it's either Ruttenberg or Three Oaks, that's where their lessons are, and there's a ton of kids in lessons.
Yeah.
Oh,
But they gotta play somewhere, I don't know.
So I'm open to suggestions if you want to still discuss this or.
No, thank you for extra, everybody,
Yeah, and
They'll
we'll,
be
we'll find
utilized.
some
It's gonna be
barrier, and I'll,
huge.
I'll order more nets. I mean, I go down there, I don't,
yeah, don't get me wrong, you had like 12, there's still like 6 left, there's still some left.
That stinks.
But, yeah, well,
well,
they
that
were-
happened even before Ian, they got wrecked. We had to replace them a lot, but I mean,
Oh yeah, I don't think
I don't
it's
know what
from the
to-
hurricane, I think it's just people
Wear and
being
tear.
people.
and we
Yeah.
spent, the ones with the wheels, we spent quite a bit of money on, and those lasted through the storms, but. I don't know. I'm open to whatever. I mean, we're lining the 4 right now, and like I said, we have plans that there'll be, 24 total courts. So, but some will be indoor, some will be outdoor.
Right.
Mhm.
So, it's just a matter of how many more we need. Can't have enough, probably. I mean, I've been down to Naples, but they have a bigger community, obviously.
Right, so they have
Oh, yeah.
different courts for everything, that's the
Yeah.
thing.
They have established, with the national tournaments and all that. And
They actually don't have a bigger community voter-wise. They do have increased options for budgeting than we do.
yeah, but I mean, there's people from. It's just easier to get to sometimes too.
Yeah,
Naples, for people like in Estero and and San Carlos
It's hard right now
are
to
you
get
talking
around
about
here
the
anyway.
downtown Cambier Park?
or veterans.
Naples?
Veterans.
Oh, veterans, oh. I
But they have the
love
new
that.
one too. That has
Veterans is
Right.
nice,
veterans is nice.
yeah.
We should have to. No, anyway. Okay. Any other discussion? I mean, we'll do the 4 for now, and unless you guys want to line them all, but I'll try to do a little bit better job of keeping track of. I'm usually here early and stay somewhat late.
You also have 7 jobs right now.
Somewhat.
But no, I mean, I do walk down there enough, and when we have Bay Oaks open, we'll be able to really know,
Yeah,
and they can actually. But if someone comes at 5 o'clock wants to play pickleball, they're gonna move the nets back. Like we can move them out, but just never know when someone's gonna want to play pickleball or basketball. That's the thing.
so we need separate.
But
Okay.
I'll get some new nets open or ordered anyway because we probably need them.
Take a look, take a look, but
Okay.
like I said, there's a few of them left.
Okay. But I do know, I just never know. Like we thought we'd need another softball field, but the trend isn't going that way.
Well, we
You
also
know?
thought that the seniors could not play on the smaller one, and they can.
They can. I think
So,
they.
it
You know,
works
honestly,
out.
I when I go by, they seem to. Joe, you play?
That's part of my report.
I'm not saying all seniors, but you
I'm
play.
a senior.
Okay.
What the hell? You know,
But I mean, I think they like
The age
it. I
for
like.
seniors gets lower all the
I
time.
think they
Or
like
I'm
to
getting
hit it
closer
out of the
to
park
it.
once in a while. The bases are shorter,
you
which
know,
is good. And
so I'll just say, I played last week and there were, 20 plus people there. I'm one of 2 women. Anya is awesome, just saying. It takes me like 10 strokes to even hit the ball, but I'm still out there playing. The people are fun. The park is beautiful. Some of the guys really love to hit it out. But if they hit it out, they now have to go get the ball.
right, and we're gonna mitigate that through the
That's
net.
well, it should be.
What we're waiting on, what we're
Interesting.
waiting on right now is locates, and we have the poles, we have the net. We need locates, and then there are some dead branches hanging over from the mangroves, so we need a DEP permit to even trim those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
We're not cutting back the mangroves at all.
Right,
There's just a
just-
couple that will
Yeah,
interfere with the net,
you can
but
do that.
the ones we're cutting off are from dead trees that are in the mangroves, but we still need permits.
Yeah.
Then
but
we'll
it's
get
a
it.
lot
but
of
then,
fun, and Howie's awesome. He's collecting a small fee. to give back to Bay Oaks, so, it's,
Yeah, that's
a lot of
that's
fun.
really nice. We don't ask that obviously, but if he does that,
He does.
That's
Cool.
great.
yeah.
But yeah, I went out there and you had was it right before Christmas or right after? You had must have 30 people out there.
Yeah, yeah. I was surprised. It's been cool, so I
Yeah.
think people have not.
It's fun. I know Howie
Yeah.
always tells me to go in to get swings, but I never. had
It's
time to
fun.
do it, but
We have a blast.
it's a good time. So.
The only
I think-
downside to it is, I was speaking with Howie once, and he said, when you do get 30 people, cause everybody plays, right?
Yeah.
So being on the Little League field,
Oh,
it gets a
yeah.
little compact for,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But, yeah, it's a good. Do you get? So do you do? This is for anybody watching. They play for 2 hours, right?
Right.
Is it the other
I
4
leave-
hours
I
still
leave.
accounted for?
Sure
I
they are.
leave.
I've seen the shirts.
It used to be 2 hours of
Two.
playing,
Hey,
2
2
hours
hours
of at the
drinking,
Shamrock,
and
and
then
napping,
Yeah, 2 hours
yeah.
of napping.
2 hours a nap.
Yeah.
Like that. But they seem to have a great time. Everyone, they.
And they
It
are
seemed like
great
that.
with newcomers, cause there's people that play, I don't play
Yeah.
every single week, and they're
They're
great.
getting enough on that field where we can almost have 2 games.
Yeah, I
Wow.
mean, it's fun.
That's wonderful.
It's good.
Anything more to report? Do you have adequate input from us,
I think so. I think
to
it.
kind of move?
We'll start with the 4, and I know it's different now because there's the lessons going on, and that takes up some of the time on the courts.
Mhm.
But we're working on more. I've always said we probably don't have enough at a certain point for a couple hours a day. It's so busy down there. I know
Yeah.
that. So
Okay.
yeah, I think we're good.
All right, thank you, Jeff. We're gonna go to member items, and we'll begin with Michelle. By the way, just as an FYI, on our agenda, we need to make sure that we include, Michelle's name, hers,
It's not.
yes,
No.
it's not on there.
Yep, I'm so
Not yet.
sorry. Apologize for that.
No problem.
We want to make sure that you know that you are not only welcomed, but needed,
Thank you.
so, you're welcome. Anything to report beyond the concern about the nets?
No, we talked about, the other one was bathrooms, but I think we've got our short-term solution is we have bathrooms back there, so I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, and one other thing I talked to Big Jim, probably know him from
Yep.
back there, is pressure washing the stuff back there because it gets bird droppings on it. But he said when he goes back there, sometimes he gets yelled at for the noise. So we gotta from the pickleball players that he
He's been
makes too much
pickleball
noise.
before.
But so we're working on keeping that area clean and everything too.
Okay, Becky?
We need to figure out what to do with Friends of Bay Oaks. Jesse wrote to me, he wants to turn it over. Right now, he and I are the ones that are on it. And he wants to put me as the main person, but we need a second, but I am under the understanding that I can't even be the main person anyway,
That-
so I don't know what to do with
Finish your
that. I told him I was
thought,
gonna
yeah.
talk to you.
Yeah, I mean that.
I don't want it
Ideally,
to dissolve.
not even ideally. I think we made a decision that we shouldn't have any BORCAB members on the Friends.
Correct.
So, I don't also want it to dissolve.
He worked hard to get it back going,
Did.
and we have the bank account, we have, I just don't know. I was like, don't turn it over yet, let me discuss it.
What about CellCal?
So
I
we
mean,
can,
isn't Ellen on Ellen Vaughn? Isn't
Yeah.
she on CellCal?
you
She
can be
is?
on Friends of
Why?
Bay Oaks, you just can't be on the board.
Oh, so she's not on
That's
the
the
board
problem.
She
of,
is.
Oh.
she is on the board
And
of.
that is the conflict. We're having issues with regard to that
Well,
particular
the
thing.
reason
You know-
I brought it up is because it's the same issue.
So,
Exactly,
yeah,
and,
so
and
we
we're having
decided
the
as
same problem.
We decided as BORCAB, this wasn't too long ago, that we weren't gonna have,
We had somebody come in and say that it was not recommended.
the
'cause of
lawyer,
the
actually.
sunshine law.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
so
and
she-
it
it's
all,
not
Michelle, it
good.
all turns out into the sunshine law, that, you and Becky can't go to Wahoo Willie's and eat and talk about BORCAB
Right.
stuff
Right.
outside. It has to be when we talk about BORCAB, and we talk about Bay Oaks, and policy, and things that are happening,
And whatever's gonna come before a vote.
or
Most of-
whatever's come for a vote, it has to be in a public meeting, scheduled public meeting, that's recorded and all that, so there's no, not to say there is, I'm not saying that, but, back end deals,
Right.
or,
It's a
that,
full
all of the
transparency.
council members that are the advisory board members that are here need to hear the same exact thing.
So the Friends of Bay Oaks
Oh,
votes.
is that
So like if you and I were both on the board in Friends of Bay Oaks, we're like, oh, well, let's do this for
Yeah.
fundraising, and then it blends in.
It blends in
It's not,
too much.
it
Like,
overlaps with the Sunshine Law.
Yeah,
Is that, is Friends of Bay Oaks is underneath the town, isn't it?
not really.
Not
It's a
really.
501c3 that
Yeah.
is
And it's just for
is
fundraising.
loosely an arm
really.
of.
But not a legal arm,
It's not a legal arm.
that's the difference.
It's a financial arm, and the only thing that Friends of Bay Oaks is supposed to do, not the only thing, I shouldn't say that, they can do whatever they want. Main thing is to fundraise, to help support programming here, so we would come in, so say we did a huge fundraiser, Friends of Bay Oaks did that, and then we would request, probably at the beginning of the year, some kind of budget, like, oh, we'd like 5,000 for this, and then they would fundraise for it. They don't have any input on what we do, that's
Right.
BORCAB.
Right.
There was like a
So you're-
basketball tournament recently, and so there was money in the account, and so it was $1,000 to go for
Sure.
the prize for the winning team.
You have a website, don't you, or a Facebook page?
We don't have anything, so
You
it
don't have
was,
anything?
it
Oh.
was Friends of Bay Oaks, and then it
Trying to
just
figure out
sort
how
of
to advertise
dissolved.
to get other people that would be
So
interested
that's the
in
thing,
it.
so
Well,
it
we
went,
have to
it kind of went
recruit.
away, and so when Jesse Field was on the board, who you had replaced, he created the 501c again, and we have a bank account and everything, but when he started it up, he put me somebody as the second person, but neither one of us could be on it.
The goal was to
So-
get more people
Yeah.
to take
Oh,
it
sure.
over.
Right, so it's at Sandcap is the bank account, there's money in it, there's more money to go in it, but we need somebody to
So how do
actually
we find
be
people,
on the
how do we
board.
find somebody to be on that board?
That's the trick.
I think the
Right.
issue here is the confusion between what the town can do and what a 501c3 can do. And what we learned collectively recently is that the town is fully capable of accepting contributions and sponsorships and donations. My question, and I'd like to have this as an agenda item for next month, to bring our town attorney in. The concern that I have, not only for BORCAB, but for CELCAB, is that if an individual or a corporation gives a contribution, $5,000 say, directly to the town needs to be obligated to that donor to restrict that contribution for that event. And that donor can use that as a tax deduction
I don't think it is tax
contribution.
deductible if it's to the town,
I'm
that's
sorry?
for the, I don't think it is tax deductible if it's for the town, that's
Well,
the
that's
problem.
what, I think there's a difference of opinion about that.
Okay.
Which, you know, is why the Friends of Mount House and the Friends of Bay Oaks was initiated in the first place, because it was the assumption that the town could not expect
Right.
to give, take contributions and have it tax deductible. I would love for the town attorney to come to us and give us the ruling on that. I've done some research, and there's some ambiguity.
So just as an example, I guess, my experience is, it's a community foundation. We would like, and we've done this is something we've done. We need to replace our concession equipment. They said, okay, basically what's that gonna entail? They said, okay, they approved it, and we got the monies earmarked for concession equipment only.
Right.
When it goes to finance, it's set as just that, we don't use it for anything else.
It's reserved.
It's reserved for just that. Like, we can't use it for anything else unless we go back to
Foundation.
the foundation and say, can we use this for something else?
Okay,
So it is, we still have money in there for concession equipment because it's still under
In
repair.
But if somebody gives you a donation, is it tax deductible? Cause
That's
that's a
the question.
benefit for the 501c, that's what you're saying,
That's
so
the
it
issue.
could be, you know,
and I
Like, so
think
there's
that's a
money
huge
there.
incentive as to why someone.
it's huge, yeah.
And even with STELCAB, I saw there was the engineering group that funded one of the talks at the Mount
Mm-hmm.
House. Did they get a tax
That'll- we'll find out.
contribution? Because that did not go through Friends, that went directly to the town.
Yeah, and we've done that, I mean,
Well, you've had sponsorships for that baseball,
yeah,
Right.
that would be more Little League, I guess, but
well, still,
we do get sponsorships. We have our own banner program, so when somebody can pay us, or a donation, and we put up their banner.
Well, didn't Major League Baseball give you a ton of money for the ballpark?
They give us a lot of money. I wouldn't say a ton.
Was it a ton? No, it wasn't
Well,
quite a ton.
They
I
gave
don't
us
know.
They
I
gave
don't-
us enough to redo the infield.
Okay. But I
They-
guess that's another
Well,
example,
Scott's
right?
helped too, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You're right. No, you're
Yeah.
I-
you're totally right. exactly, I'm sorry.
So did Jesse report into this group then?
He
Or
was,
in
he
this-
was,
he
you took
was.
his spot.
Okay, no, but the
That's the
Friends
stuff
of
that was
Bay
up
Oaks
there.
was actually
We
part of
didn't
this.
have
Never
an
really
active,
started.
we
It
didn't
wasn't
have an
a
active
separate-
We were
board.
trying to
didn't have-
recruit
He
somebody
literally
and it,
just did the
never
501(c)(3)
happened.
Well,
and then had to.
And
And
I
then they had
think
to
that's
leave.
the
So-
reason
Can the
why,
town put out like a notice saying that we have this position available?
I mean, he's ready to turn
It's
it
not a
over, he
town
doesn't have any
function.
association anymore.
it
We
had
can-
needed
we
to be
can-
a completely
We could put
separate.
something out and just say, you know, cause they do support Bay Oaks, we can, that, the Friends of Bay Oaks is looking for new members or something. We
Well,
can,
we're looking for members.
We need a president.
members.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like we need presidents and members and get a
I mean,
group
you-
going.
There's no
treasurer,
member
there's
program
vice,
right
there's-
now.
Yeah,
There's
there's
nothing.
nobody.
right.
So,
But he wants to turn it over. I mean, I could have him like waited in the wings for a little while, but.
I know, and what happened last time when it dissolved is the town, the town was holding on to that money.
Town still is. There's a big
We
check
wrote
on
a
it.
check.
I
It's
mean,
not in there?
I haven't been to the bank. I have no idea.
Oh, I think you
I
got that
thought
money back.
Karen got the, what is it, 14,000 or
15,
something like that?
Something,
It may
Yeah.
have gotten deposited. I have no
I
idea.
think it got, if it did, then I'll look into it, but it should have,
It
cause we
could have.
discussed it.
I mean, he has like, I'm just a secondary to where I have access to it. He gets like all the emails. I have
Okay.
no idea how to log in
Yeah,
the
if
account.
it's not,
and-
then it definitely needs to be, cause that's the intent.
Right.
But if it dissolves again,
Cause that's what was happening. Like we had checks that were just sitting there and then you can't deposit them cause they're 3 years old and then you have to
There's
have them
just not enough
recut.
people on the
Yep.
island.
so. But you're right, to your point, Barbara, if it's something that we can give tax deductions for,
It brings into, the reason the Friends of Bay Oaks formed in the first place was because the county, this was before incorporation, before 1995. And the community got together and said, no, we do not want this to stay with the county. We want the county to give the Bay Oaks to the town and we will, bring this to fruition. So it was a ground roots effort to involve the community in saving Bay Oaks, because there was a question that nothing was gonna be done. There was no funding for Bay Oaks at the time, because it was a brand-new town. There wasn't really any funding for any of it, so it was a volunteer effort at that point. There was no staff. Same thing with the Mound House. The Mound House was, had almost no staff. It was a volunteer organization that came in and raised funds and provided, volunteer docent programming and giving tours as a volunteer. When an entity, a municipality, builds its own staff, it becomes less important for a volunteer to be involved. And it's an evolutionary thing, so we're finding the same thing with Friends of Mount House, is that, there isn't that direct need as there once was when things start to form.
and I'm not discounting the value of those, I mean, they do some good fundraising too, and they put on some events that
Sure.
are great, but
But that's the thing is like town staff is not gonna put on the events. I mean, have
Well,
they
and
have
that
time for
becomes
that?
the responsibility of staff. That staff
If they're
can't
gonna
have
do
it both
it, right.
ways. They can't, do all the events and then expect Friends.
We have for a
It's either
couple
one
years
or the
now.
other.
wanted to do them, have things at Times Square, have things at Bayside Park, have our own programs like Cape Coral does, like Naples does. Cape Coral does a great job in their Parks and Rec department of doing townwide events.
It would be great to have the farmers markets back here.
Yeah,
Back here?
exactly.
Back here,
Well, we
How's Friends
wanted
of
to
the
have,
Lost Keys of it?
like evening events, like,
everything, yeah.
'Cause
concerts.
wanna-
We wanted
Movies in the
concerts,
park, yeah.
exactly.
I mean, when I
That
found
that's
out,
that's the goal of this park.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Did we, when you started doing, I was able to go to his office and look at the plans. Did we actually go out to the town and do a survey of what everybody wanted to see from
We-
this park?
We did
Yes.
that
Yeah.
Yeah, that's-
initially,
yeah,
and we
we
actually
did.
just did it after Ian. We had part of the R2P2 project.
Yes,
Okay,
We had it at Diamond Head.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest thing was trails for bikes and walking. That was the number one thing.
yep.
I'd have to look back at my notes, but I know that was the
So
the
we-
other one was the bike connection trail
Right, in the pocket parks.
and the pocket parks. Yep.
Okay.
Those were the main things that the residents, and we had a lot of people there.
mm-hmm.
A lot of
And
residents.
you did that before Ian?
No,
No, it
after,
was
way
after
after.
me.
Ian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that was.
Is it possible to copy that report just for my background?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, just be,
I can,
Okay, so if we could just have the attorney for next month's agenda and really get into the issue of tax deductible contributions and see if there's some clarity as to the purpose of the Friends of Bay Oaks. And actually, our thought when Bay Oaks the Friends was being reintroduced because it'd been dormant for so long, we would think that there would be the senior group, the senior Bay Oaks group, that would have the time and the inclination to, get the ball rolling. And if staff could say, look, we're getting the Friends group together, we want you guys to be involved and, help us raise money and maybe put on events, work with the town. Nothing came of it. So I think it begs the question as to what need does the Friends serve that the town staff is not currently doing?
well, right now,
I don't
there's
think
a
we
big
got
need.
Becky's question answered though.
So just tell Jesse to hang
So-
on and wait.
Can the town put an ad out for Jesse? It's something, we still have a need here that Jesse's gotta
Unless
be
they're
replaced, and how are we
unless
gonna?
the town's taking over, that's the problem.
We did
It's
talk
a
about this at our last meeting as well.
Yeah, we
And-
tabled it
and
to this meeting, it's not working.
I
Okay,
think the
so
issue was the same.
let me just move, I'm through with my member report. And
Well, I
Ed,
haven't
I
done
want
mine
you
Oh,
to,
I'm sorry.
no, I want you
Thank
to
you.
be, you're next anyway, so I'd like.
No,
I'd
I'm
like to-
next.
Yeah,
Oh, Joy, you're next, I'm sorry, yes, you're next, oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
A lot of good discussion.
All right, get Ed
Is
to
it my
finish
turn?
his conversation,
no, I'm just saying it's in our minutes that we discussed it last time. And-
In
and-
November,
Yeah, and
We did,
the conversation was basically the same one.
correct.
I don't think
So-
we have an answer to it right now, we just don't have the volunteer base.
So how does he remove it from himself, to take that burden off of himself? Does he just not right now and just say, hang on, because he's not involved with Bay Oaks at all anymore, he's in San
One of the ways, and I don't even wanna say it, would be to close the account.
But you did say that out loud, I heard you.
I mean, that would be one way, I don't know, unless it solely goes into your name, but we don't want
I
a
don't
BORCAB
wanna
member to be a part of, and I know you don't
Right,
want to.
but you
so-
can't be on it either, can you? Cause really, honestly, my suggestion to him was Jeff can be the second person, he's like, I don't think
It'd be
so.
somebody else that,
Right, that's not involved.
I wouldn't be
know.
able to control the money and request the money at the same time. That's what basically BORCAB would
Correct.
be doing, is we put a recommendation in to request money, and that same person could have the power to reject or approve that money, that just does not seem
yeah.
right to me, so.
Yeah, he said, I'm looking to transfer the nonprofit over, I need one additional person to replace me. So,
We gotta recruit
he's,
somebody.
he's, he's literally just kinda like
If he's
hanging
watching,
out waiting.
probably not, but
Doubtful.
I like Jesse, but, sorry, wish we could
I know.
have an answer, I just don't know, it has to be.
But what about all those guys that, are playing with
Or all the
softball? Why
pickleball
would they
players,
not
usually.
be involved in?
I think that's a great idea.
Every
I-
day.
they need to
should
be
the ones do
recruited.
something.
Exactly.
Our
And
two biggest
asked.
programs are pickleball and that softball program.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They
And
should
they always
use
have
this
been.
place every day.
Yeah.
You think
Well,
they're more
you're-
reasonable?
Not always, I mean, recently.
Your senior group was really pretty active when,
Oh, the boss program.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
boss,
yeah.
the boss program.
Yeah,
is
and
also
For
people-
right
very
now,
well-
cause we
people
are
love
gonna bring
that.
that back soon, once we just gotta
Right.
fix that.
There's a lot of things before you. I mean, there was teen programs.
Let
there
me
was
talk to
training, there
Howie.
was-
Howie would be the next president of Friends. He's already raising
I don't
money.
know
I
for
if
the
know,
test.
let me just see if he has
Howie?
any ideas.
If you're watching,
He doesn't know me anyway.
I just saw.
Howie,
careful
what's
what we
his
ask
last
for, no,
name?
I'm
I
just
don't
kidding,
Yeah,
I love
right?
Howie. I really
Howie
like him.
is,
Y'all have been talking about him this whole meeting. I don't know who that is.
you don't know who Howie is?
Oh, Howie,
don't
the
hang
famous
out-
Howie.
It's the places that
I don't. No.
you've got
Um,
kids.
You would
I have young
honestly,
children.
you'd recognize him, he comes to all of our events, he's really supportive, he always
He
was at
rides
the
a
on
pool.
little
Facebook, you had a
scooter.
picture? I want to see what he looks like now.
Oh, yeah, I have him on Facebook.
All right,
Well, I don't know.
let's move
Wait,
on.
I just have one other thing.
All right, but no,
We
go ahead, Joy.
digress.
So,
I'll call Jesse
speaking of
sometime.
pickleball, so as you all know, I did a pickleball tournament last year, and after conversations with my friend Jeff here, decided that we're going to cancel this year. However, I got a grant to hold it, and I got it before Milton came on through. So, I wrote them all an email, and this is the Cape Coral Community Foundation, and they are allowing me to push it.
Nice.
So there's gonna be a 2026 event, and, when Jeff hires the new director.
Manager, I'm still.
Manager, director, whatever, okay,
I'm
manager.
not going anywhere, Joy.
All right, I know,
Not that I know.
I know you're,
Not on my
Assistant to the manager.
whatever. The person that's gonna spend more time over there, I will get with them, because it's a joint effort between Bay Oaks and the Community Foundation. So, anyway, we're gonna have the 2026, the grant is still good,
That's
and
awesome.
I'm thrilled about it.
Yeah, and we talked it, just with, I know.
The
staff,
bathrooms, just the
the facilities in
logistics,
general are.
and the fact that, it was a joint effort, and, with Danielle having left, I needed somebody to,
Yeah,
help.
all of our staff time, I know Joy and I talked about it, it's really to the kids, and we only have 4 of them, so.
right,
No,
that's it.
I love it. I mean, if you
Thank
wanna do
you,
it later
Joy.
in 2025, we can certainly.
No, we're gonna do it in 2026, in season.
Good.
So,
That's wonderful. Thank
Yeah,
you so much,
we'll do
Joy,
it.
for that. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, and Ed, anything to report?
I was just gonna ask Jeff about, other park space in the town that maybe the town doesn't, maintain. Because I've noticed in some of these development packages that are put together, the town is requesting that the developer develop some park space, but the town doesn't wanna maintain it. So I'm wondering if we currently have any spaces like that in town that the public could utilize?
I mean, the park spaces that we have are the beach accesses basically, that we maintain, Bayside Veterans Park, Times Square, Newton, and Mound House, it's not really, it's a park, so we do that, I'll just put that in there.
I mean, is there possibly any developments like before your time with the town?
I don't know
maybe
that, I
happen,
honestly
like,
don't
for
know
instance,
where,
like Bay Beach Lane possibly?
nope, that's private,
I knew
Yeah.
you would know.
that is private.
and we
I-
all,
I-
and we pay
I guess
for it.
my answer to that is I wasn't a part of those conversations about not wanting to maintain them or not. I think the conversation was that they would maintain them as part of the public benefit. I don't know how, I'm not versed well enough to really speak on that, and I don't wanna say the wrong thing as far as the public benefit goes, but,
Do you think that's something you could look into?
yeah, I mean, our goal has been for pocket parks, we've been trying to,
Pocket parks, yes.
get them, especially on the south end, where we don't have much at all for town-owned facilities. I mean, the south end doesn't really have much for parks at all, doesn't have any, so it'd be nice to get, a chunk of land that we could put a pocket park and maintain. Yeah, we'll definitely maintain them, I mean, that's not the issue.
But you gotta have parking.
Come back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
You gotta have parking.
Yeah.
parking, correct.
I think it'd be beneficial. I mean, like, we don't,
Well, our
especially
goal-
this time of year, we don't go downtown. It was 2 hours from my house to
Oh my
Margaritaville
God.
the other day. I looked on my phone just to see, cause the traffic
Yeah.
started before my house. I'm like,
Are
I
you
can't even
in
get to the
South End
road.
too?
We're by where the car wash was, like,
Okay,
by the
I'm
Catholic
e-
church.
I'm even further down.
Yeah.
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 And I was like, we wouldn't go, obviously.
Well, when we
you
that
know?
lady had that accident on the bridge and closed it down, I don't know if anybody was in traffic.
I
It
heard about it.
Took me over 3.5 hours to get.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, did it
But
really?
that's an
That's an
oddity.
extenuating
Yes,
circumstance.
it's an oddity.
Or when
Um,
the crane the other day hit the bridge.
Yeah.
Oh, man, because I have to go to Bonita, so.
Well, I mean, look
Like
at
that.
even earlier this year when the sailboats or
Yeah.
the shrimp boats hit the bridge, it
Right.
closed it down. But anyway, yeah,
It
I
would
mean,
be
we're definitely
beneficial.
open to parks, and it'd be nice to have a bike trail somewhere
Yeah,
that had pocket parks on there.
right.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
So if you could check into that, that'd be great.
yeah, I don't know
I mean,
of
and-
anything
and
that
in fact, it
we
was a
said
whole, pocket park idea that got me to thinking about that. Because I can actually see that park really well out my front window before I see the condos.
would,
Are you talking about
Which-
back on Lagoon on there?
I'm talking
Behind the
about
green
Bay
condos?
Beach Lane.
Oh,
It's
baby, oh,
private.
yeah, that one.
That
Oh,
one, we
that
don't even
open
maintain the
property
road on
there?
that one.
No, it's a private road.
You can look at it all you want.
I'm just saying, I don't recall, I wasn't here when that development
Yeah,
agreement was signed.
well, that I don't know either.
Yeah.
I can look
I
into it.
wasn't even here then, so, and I've been here over 6 years, so.
I
I
mean, it'd
just
be great
noticed
to
with
get
some of
something
the-
down there, or even, you know, we have that whole golf course that's it's empty.
And it
Right,
was,
but I think that's part of Bay Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is,
yeah,
it
it
is.
is,
Yeah,
but
it's
it
private.
belongs to them, and they're
Right.
treating it as a preserve.
Right.
And I think they have very clear,
But are they
sense of
rebuilding-
direction forward as to what to do with that property, but primarily keeping it as a preserve, natural environment.
Well, I know some people on, that work for mosquito control, and they have told me that the biggest, hardest problem in town is that area
Oh,
on,
really?
on Bay Beach Lane because of the ponds they built, or,
The Catholic Church
Something
is
to
a
that
huge problem.
effect.
for mosquitoes.
Wow.
so when the wind is blowing just right, they end up, you know, in my garage.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
The church
Yeah.
house is huge for
The
mosquitoes.
church
I
as
would have
well.
liked to gone
Yep,
play
the
nine
church
holes
is
during my
another-
lunch
Yeah.
break.
It's not maintained, and it's just a mosquito
I
haven.
miss it too,
I was
Yeah.
never here when I was here.
yeah.
For what?
Oh, the golf course was
Oh,
fun.
I wasn't either.
But no, I mean, that's their land to do, I guess, what they,
How long ago did it close down?
Were there any, I know council was very
Probably 10
supportive
years
of
easily.
really
Okay. We lived here in
investigating
18.
possible pocket park properties.
Mm-hmm.
Where are they with that? And would that be an incentive for a public benefit if a developer said, okay, I don't have any available property on my area that I'm developing, but I would give, $1 million toward the purchase of a pocket park that would be town
You mean
owned?
Seagate?
I can't,
Yes, like Seagate, which
let's
is,
not go
you know,
there.
that train has left the station, but.
I'll take,
Everybody
I'll
needs to
take
give
the
it
blame
anyway.
if we need to get it.
Um,
I'm used to it.
I can't speak for council, but I would be open to that. I think we've said that all along. I mean, I think that was a priority for the residents when we had those visioning sessions for
Exactly.
RTP2 and other ones. We've talked about it. If we ever got a bike lane, we'd love some. We talked about purchasing properties when we've tried it a couple times because the Florida Land Trust, and there was one other one, I can't remember the name of it, that had funding available. I mean, it wasn't much. It was probably under $1 million. Can't get a whole lot, but a little bit of a land maybe. But I think we had 3 inquiries, and none of them. They all said they were going to try to sell it on their own. I think is what it was. And we only, obviously, everyone knows we only have so much land on this island. So.
And what is the, Strand View? That's off the table now as a
I mean,
possible town purchase?
It's not sold yet, but
Yeah.
11 million is.
Is that right next to,
You reckon next
Next
to,
to
it
I
would
would
be
love it.
expanding,
I would love
doubling
it.
the size of Newton, basically,
Yeah, but
yeah.
Ed, do you know what they're, what are
we
they
don't have
doing?
another million to go into the redevelopment. I mean, we don't have 11 million. To
Of
acquire a
course,
property.
of course.
What are they doing back at the end of your Laguna entrance where they tore those condos back out? That would be in the, northeast corner, behind the green ones. They tore all those down back there. That would be adjacent to the golf course, but a separate property.
Right across the water. I'm not sure what they're doing back there.
Just,
I'm not sure.
it's a,
Is that the one
Big-
that is it gated back there?
no, I
No.
think it's
No,
adjacent to
that's
the
by
golf
church.
course,
It's a-
that you're
well,
thinking of, I think.
right?
But
Is
I
it only
think there's
gated part,
water
isn't it?
between that and the golf course. Are
Okay,
you talking about at the end of the common area?
yeah,
Yeah.
back there in the.
I
back
thought someone was building a house back there.
I haven't looked. I know that I remember when they were back there demoing it, but it's just kind of a dead spot back in there. I didn't know whether or not those condos were old back there. All right, we're gonna keep our eyes
I mean,
open.
if you're asking me, or I'm sure your opinions are all the same. You can, but I'd love to see more pocket parks.
Mm-hmm. I don't
Agreed.
know why council ever
Especially in the south
didn't
end.
push that as an option for public
did.
benefit.
I don't know
No,
about that.
to
I don't-
developers to
I'm not
say,
in those planning sessions, but
right?
um,
That could have been a huge incentive for, Seagate to say, look,
well,
maybe not restrooms, but definitely a pocket park contribution.
I guess one thing we could recommend
Mm-hmm.
to council is to look into that.
I think that's a possibility.
I can't. tell
I
you
would
what motions
support
to put
that.
out there.
I would support that, bringing that to the council.
You know, we could do.
For-
you know,
Would
you could
anyone
self-capture
like,
board.
would anyone like to make a motion, that we explore the options of having the purchase of a pocket park as a public benefit, opportunity for, all future developers that want to develop here on the island? Anybody wanna make a motion?
I'll
Do you
make
wanna
that-
limit it to that, or do you want, I'm sorry,
That's
I don't know
okay.
if I should
No
be
problem.
interjecting, or do you wanna say addition to providing some of their land? I mean, they don't have to,
Right, if, definitely.
Just
in-
being part of
in-
the package.
In other words, in addition to,
yeah.
yes,
I know they're doing, their big thing is restrooms, but
yeah,
we
but
can
that's,
put a restroom in park.
that's, yeah, so, but
Yes, you can.
that would be certainly a recommendation. So anyone want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
All right, Ed,
Yeah,
thank you.
I'll second.
Second by who?
Michelle,
Michelle. Michelle has seconded that, motion. All in favor?
aye.
Okay, unopposed? No? No one? Thank you. Motion carries unanimously, and this will be a recommendation to council.
We haven't got to vote on anything in a while.
Sorry?
We haven't got to vote on anything
I
in
know,
a
that's
while,
kinda
I feel like.
I thought we should since we have a quorum.
Right.
Yes,
We should vote
you
on
have to do
something.
that as,
I do
right.
have a quick question for you.
Mm-hmm.
With the kids being off island from the school, has that lowered the numbers, have you noticed?
We're at, what did I say before,
27 or
27?
something, 24,
Yeah, I mean, we were up in the forties, I believe.
when they were here?
Yeah, because we ended up having like 80-some% of the school.
That's what I thought. So when they come back, hopefully that goes up.
Yep.
And no
Is it a
idea
when or an
is-
if?
Oh, it's supposed to
The
be a
school?
win.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a win.
It's a win.
They're
That,
redoing it.
Oh, they are,
It's
okay,
yeah, I mean, it's,
Faster this
from everything I've heard, it's a win.
good,
Yeah, but
I
I thought it was
haven't
like
heard of
maybe
it being a-
March. I don't know exactly.
that's great.
It's
It's
like
a
the
wow.
Oaks win. And
Yeah.
All right.
I think I did enough, so that's the end of my
Good job, Ed.
number items.
You're, okay, you're sure you don't have anything more?
I can't think of anything else. No, I think I've done enough.
No, this is a great suggestion, and to your point though about the Bay Beach land there, I never realized that was a feeding ground for all the mosquitoes, and so I
That's
think
just
that's
that's what I've heard from staff.
right.
Well, I can
That's-
tell you, if we don't drain the pools, we can definitely tell it too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
If there's water in the pools, if we get high tide, back that up.
Oh, it's terrible.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
the Catholic Church is huge.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
the land that's not getting
Yeah.
maintained back there, that it is a mosquito haven.
Yeah.
wow.
It's awful. And it's a big property.
Yeah,
All right, thank you. We will set next month's agenda. We've got a regularly scheduled meeting for next month. I'm not quite sure exactly what date that is.
We usually do it on the third Wednesday, which would be the
We have a
19th.
schedule,
that's
don't
the
we, from-
19th.
Okay, so that's February 19th, and again at 12.
Does that work for everybody?
It's as regularly scheduled.
So it doesn't matter to be here.
Can we make it 12:30 and be selfish? I know it's my first meeting.
It depends. I gotta
Um,
pick up my kids from
We
school.
have a
that's
tight,
right,
that's
I
why.
think the chamber is oftentimes not available.
Yeah, that's because it used to be at 9.
Yeah, no.
yeah, it'd be the February 19th at 12.
Okay.
We used to do it in the mornings.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
All right,
Thank you,
thank you,
Adrian.
Becky.
I second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Opposed? None?